Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where you pick our winners and losers from the weekend just past, and this looks like it might be our last weekend given the people we've included in the script. Patrick van Straan, how's your weekend?
It was good. I played tennis. That was it.
Oh yeah, what's your strength in tennis?
I've got a lovely backhand
slice.
I've got a lovely backhand slice.
You are quite a backhanded sort of guy.
Yeah.
Backhanded compliments, normal backhands.
When they're out of line.
Slaps a lot of people in the office.
Just a child on the street.
I am absolutely killing from the neck down.
You went to Leicester, right?
Yeah, I did a tough mudder. I thought I got away with it after. I felt fine. I even put out something on Instagram that read, "Preparation is overrated." And then I woke up screaming last night. So both my knees had been replaced with grapefruit.
So to be clear, you paid money in order to be tortured in the field.
Yeah, proper weird
quality.
Anyway, let's kick things off with the Twitter beef.
Oof.
And this comes from We Are Venom, a regular here on EFD. And he said Manchester United should replace the outgoing Martial with Memphis. Now that is almost a hot take, but let me give you a bit of context from Strong, because Memphis finished the season extremely strongly, didn't they? 24 years old, 19 goals and 13 assists in just over 2,500 minutes.
Wow.
And Nabil Fekir, by the same token, is being touted for a £70 million move. Everyone's very excited to see him return to the Premier League. No one's levelling the same sort of criticisms at him that they are at Memphis.
Yeah, good point.
Despite the fact his output is slightly less.
And he's got dodgier... Sorry.
Yeah, 18 goals and 8 assists in just under 2,500 minutes as well.
And he's got a dodgier injury record, right? He had that cruciate ligament injury, whereas Memphis actually has a remarkably good injury record, except at Man United when he was mysteriously injured literally all the time.
With Van Gaalism. Yeah, but basically people, I think, are a little bit sceptical when it comes to Memphis returning to the Premier League, and a lot of sort of troglodytes are saying that, oh, we can only do it against farmers. But by that same, like I said, on the other hand, everyone's welcoming someone with an inferior output to a top four side on the back of a £70 million spend. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, people always say that about players from Ligue 1, but then they always seem to transfer pretty well. I mean, like Zlatan, everyone said it about him when he was 35 years old coming from Ligue 1, and I thought he was fantastic in that single season at Man United. Anthony Martial also came from that league. Bernardo Silva has arrived from that league. You know, nobody would complain if United were linked with Thomas Lemar, for instance. The one thing about it is, I think sometimes United are prevented from making sensible moves by what they think their fans want. So I don't think you could sell the fans the idea of bringing back Memphis Depay, even if he was the best wide player in the world. So similarly, we've taken a look at Mikel Oyarzabal here from Real Sociedad, and he's a bit more versatile. He can play on the left, on the right, he can play as a number 10. 10 goals, 5 assists in 31 league games for Sociedad last season, who are firmly in mid-table. They're 11th. So that's pretty impressive, really.
You know who else's output's quite impressive?
I was going to say Adnan Januzaj. Adnan Januzaj. But again, if United would say, well, we're going to take back Adnan Januzaj, who would probably be pretty cheap this summer because he's massively underperformed expected goals and expected assists, then everyone would probably say, well, no. They think of it as a step backwards. And I don't know. I think Man United are prevented sometimes from making these sensible moves. So instead, they're stuck with Alexis Sanchez. What they should really do is sell Alexis, keep Martial.
I mean, it is a little bit complicated by the fact that Alexis Sanchez has struggled so much. 3 goals in 18 appearances. I think Manchester United are in the same predicament that sort of Barcelona are almost with Luis Suarez. Now, Luis Suarez's output has been solid, but it's quite clear that he's starting to decline somewhat. But I feel like they're wedded to the formation based on personnel, and that might hamper their transfer plans. As in, I think maybe Mourinho sticks with a 4-2-3-1 because Alexis can play on either wing.
Yes.
And Barcelona stick with a 4-4-2 because Luis Suarez is their traditional number 9 in that sense. So, what are we saying? Alexis Sanchez, do they need to axe him? Should they try and sell him to Juventus?
I think if you could, it wouldn't be the worst idea.
6 years out of him.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not saying he's rubbish. I think he'll probably be better next season than he was this year. I thought Man United were a little bit disjointed all season, to be honest. and it's always quite hard to adapt mid-campaign,
Yeah.
to switch horses midstream. But I think, I don't know, it does seem like the sensible move is to safeguard the future of the club, and the way to do that is to keep Anthony Martial happy. And so I would definitely think about getting rid of Alexis Sanchez if you can, even though it's just been 6 months, even though it'll be a little bit embarrassing. Ultimately, it'll be less embarrassing than selling Anthony Martial and him turning into a world beater somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to our first winners, because it is Memphis Depay. Yes, the Dutchman was suggested by @FRA_3LAK. Apparently a code breaker, like Patrick Van Parten. Why was that?
Yeah, Memphis Depay helped Lyon cling on to that final Champions League place. They defeated Nice 3-2, and he scored a hat-trick. And at one point in this, it looked like Marseille were going to pit them to that last position. Marseille were 2-0 up against Amiens. They eventually won 2-1. And Alassane Plea put Nice ahead in this game. But it was a second-half hat-trick from Depay which saved them and got the points. And really, it's been a remarkable year for him, a great resurgence in the south of France. He's got 22 goals in 52 games. That's the most he's scored in any season since 2014-15, his last one at PSV, when he got 28 goals in 40 appearances. Really, really impressive. He was absolutely fantastic in this game. Despite playing that advanced position, 83% pass accuracy, 5 shots, 4 of those on target, 3 goals. And that kind of looks like he's starting to solve what was always his problem, which was just shooting from anywhere on the pitch. Fekir, also great. I mean, you know, it's hardly surprising at this point. 91% pass accuracy, 3 shots, even putting 2 tackles and grabbed an assist for his teammate. Player we want to give a little bit of credit to, and I know you're going to talk about him a bit in a minute. He was kind of unlucky to be on the losing side. He's actually a Lyon Academy graduate, 25 years old. He sat out pretty much the whole of last season with a knee injury when it looked like he was going to get a big move. He got 5 shots and 4 on target against his former club. And frankly, I don't know, it's been a really good season for Lyon. I think we could all agree. Like, they've been rebuilding. They've basically kind of recalibrated an entire midfield, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Mariano's banged. They've scored 3 or more goals in 15 league games. That's 39% of their matches.
Yeah, there's a clear game plan at Lyon, isn't there? And they're executing it very well, Bruno Genesio's side, marrying people like Mariano Diaz, who they bought in for a paltry 8 million, with young talent like Aouar, who we really like at Eurofootball Daily, don't we? As well as several others in the side. We discussed that over on Continental Club a few weeks back. Go and dig that out if you're interested. But yeah, let's talk about Nice, because they will be disappointed with this campaign, considering they finished 8th, 24 points worse off than this time last year. Now, they started the season disastrously, losing 7 of their first 11 league games, and Lucien Favre's men at one point were 18th in the table. Though they did rally towards the tail end of the season, losing just 2 of 8 games. They've still been hindered by shaky defensive performances throughout. They've been consistently inconsistent, if you will, in that area of the pitch, conceding 52 league goals. Only 6 sides in Ligue 1 have scored more. Roughly the same number as Arsenal, right?
It's either 1 more or 1 fewer than Arsenal. Yeah. And we have an elite defence.
Not great. And more alarmingly for them, it looks like Mario Balotelli, who finally scored over 20 goals in all competitions this season, has made his mind up about leaving. He went around the stadium, didn't he? High-fiving everyone's hands, a few ominous goodbye waves. Now, he got 18 in the league, only 4 players got more than him. And we look at Nabil Fekir as having an excellent season, scoring 18 in the league. Yeah. Mario Balotelli has done that, and I'm not sure how many starts, it doesn't say down here, but I'm guessing he hasn't played as many games as he could have, because he has a nasty habit of getting sent off, doesn't he? Yeah, and I mean, for Nice, only Mario and Plea have more than 5 goals. Alessandro Plea has 20.
And Plea said that he plans to leave this summer as well.
So, and well, Lucien Favre could also be leaving.
And Seri could leave.
To join Dortmund. So, Nice, looks like there might be a mass exodus, and things might get worse before they get better. But let's go into our first loser.
Our first losers of the week are Bayern Munich. This comes from @CitrusLamb. Yeah, Bayern lost the German Cup final.
They did, but that name has reminded me of mint sauce with lamb, which is one of my favourite combinations in the food kingdom. What did you have for Sunday dinner?
I went to a food market in Fulham and I had a fried chicken burger.
Yeah, that's very Patrick Van Straten, a man of culture. Culture vulture, aren't you? I had a Nando's on the way back from Leicester, so
nice.
Slightly more, common. Muck it in with the fine people of Brixton. But where did that burger rate on Patrick Van Straten's scale of chicken burgers?
I would say that Mother Clucker is better, who you can find in Camden. And I think in the city now, they do a honey butter fried chicken burger, which is wild. But it was good. It's not the greatest.
Well, should me and Patrick Van Straten do more about chicken burgers? Let us know in the comments.
It didn't even start with chicken. It started with lamb. How do we?
But back to the football, because Bayern were like lambs to the slaughter, weren't they?
Hey!
Lost 3-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt with goals from Rebic, Gacinovic and Lewandowski's reply. Bayern actually hit the bar early on from a Lever free kick, but it was Eintracht who took the lead, James dawdling in central midfield, and Kovac's men punished them duly on the counter-attack. 2 late goals for Kovac's side actually secured the victory over his future employees, and it's Eintracht's first German Cup win since 1988. Sort of making German football relevant again at the tail end of the season. I loved the scenes in Frankfurt for the cup unveiling. Is that what they call it? Not sure. I retweeted it. Go and check it out on my Twitter feed. But they're extremely clinical on the day. They got the job done in almost surgical-like fashion. Only had 23% possession, 8 shots against 22, but both sides had 5 on target. Now, Bayern were tremendously unlucky in this game, and if one side's been consistently fortunate and dominant in German domestic competition, it's been them. So, but yes, they were unlucky this time. Hit the bar twice, denied a penalty late on, but referee Felix Zweier used VAR and still arrived at the wrong decision, it would seem, despite there being clear contact. So maybe, what's his name? Silver Fox, I've just forgot, Bayern manager.
Jupp
Heynckes will feel a little bit aggrieved. Yeah, a lot aggrieved, you might say. But yes, from the corner, Ulreich came up and Rebic ran 70 yards to score into an unguarded net. So yeah, they finished 35 points above Frankfurt, but Kovac got his trophy.
Yeah. Well, it's been a weird time actually for both him and Heynckes since Kovac was announced as the new manager. Like, Heynckes has been knocked out of the Champions League, got battered 4-1 at home by Stuttgart. Now he's lost the cup final. That's in the last 19 days. Kovac, on the other hand, since he was announced, played 5, won 1, lost 4 rather, conceded 12. Wow. So I don't know, it was a little bit of a kiss of death. However, he now does have his first managerial trophy, and it's largely thanks to a couple of great individual performances. Rebic, 3 shots, 2 goals, and 4 tackles. Kevin Prince Boateng, 2 shots, 3 dribbles, 4 tackles, and an assist. Pretty amazing, really. He's slowed down a lot on the scoring and assisting end, Kevin Prince Boateng, after getting 10 goals, 4 assists for Las Palmas last season. But he's still a useful part. He's got 6 goals and an assist. He's obviously doing the work defensively, and he's now got a German Cup and a trophy cabinet, which includes the League Cup, which he won at Spurs, a Scudetto, which he won at Milan. I mean, he's low-key had a pretty decent career, Kevin Prince Boateng.
Spurs.
Yeah, that was a weird time.
Yeah.
That was a weird time, wasn't it? But anyway, Bayern, not too much to worry about, I think. Of the players who have played at least 15 league games this season, the average age is 26.4 years old. So that's quite old for the Bundesliga, but for European competition, it's pretty young, really. So they won't feel too worried about it. We'll see how Kovac does next season. And Frankfurt look to be bringing in Adi Hutter from the young boys, who of course just won the Swiss title, breaking Basel's hegemony. I think that it could be quite a fun season in the Bundesliga next season, except I don't think Lucien Favre is going to be very good at Dortmund.
Damn, son. Our last winners are Celtic, and this comes from Daniel Connor, 8-8, 9-9. And why is that? Van Straten, 9-9, Brooklyn 9-9, not 9.
Hitler.
Nah, not no.
Stop bringing up Hitler all the time.
You're the one that's put this in my head now, because 8-8 is a secret way of saying Heil Hitler.
Yeah, but also there's a less secret way.
I think he means 1888, the club's inception.
You tweet, or he's born in 1988, but you tweet HH at people all the time, and I'm just saying.
It's a controversial topic here in Euro Football Daily, but what happened with the Hoops?
Celtic achieved an unprecedented double treble, unprecedented in Scottish football. They won the League Cup, they won the Scottish Cup, both with 2-0 victories over Motherwell, whose name I've always found hilarious. And they finished the league season 9 points clear of Aberdeen in second, which is also funny because Aberdeen pipped Rangers to that second spot.
By beating us in the last day of the season.
Quality.
You're welcome.
Anyway, this follows obviously an invincible season, 2016-17, and means that since Rodgers has arrived, he's won every domestic trophy Celtic have competed in.
He's like Nunu, mate. Just hoovering like up.
Yeah, in that he does have quite an easy job. Anyway, previously the only teams to have won back-to-back trebles in world football are Eastern in the Hong Kong First Division, Kedah in the Malaysian Super League, and the New Saints in a league no one gives a about in Wales. Anyway,
Rangers. Good research from you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, Rangers finished third, and Celtic have now got an unbeaten run against them, stretching to 12 games. Brendan Rodgers, since taking over Celtic, has lost just 16 of his 120 games in charge, and 12 of those came in European competition.
Yeah.
He's been beaten just 4 times within the borders of Scotland.
He's never lost a game after Celtic have taken a lead.
That's not shocking. Like nobody in that league is capable of scoring against Celtic.
Look, Kilmarnock play some good stuff.
I'm sure they do. But anyway, I do actually have some of Rodgers' numbers here, and they are pretty good. He's won 70% of his games. They've conceded an average of 0.9 a game, and they've scored 2.3. To put that in a bit of context, I crunched the numbers here using the calculator on my phone. Turn it sideways, it's a scientific calculator. Liverpool have scored 2.4 goals a game this season. So, pretty decent attacking side, Celtic.
So what you're telling me is that the trident of Moussa Dembele, French Eddie, and give or take, a Tom Rogic, Lee Griffiths or Scott Sinclair is better than Liverpool's front three.
I'm saying that, firstly, French Eddie sounds like a sex move. Secondly, I think that if Celtic were to play Liverpool and beat them, they could basically say that they're champions of Europe.
And
that's how it works.
What I actually said doesn't make sense because they're still 0.1 ahead of Celtic. I heard that as the other way around.
Let's just pretend that was fine.
Yeah, let's just move on. Because Celtic are now 3 titles away from the mythical 10 in a row, a feat not even the great Jock Stein could manage. And with an average age of 25.5 in the squad, that's the 4th youngest in the Premiership, they look set for long-term success. There's Moussa Dembele, just 21, obviously roused the interest of Southampton, Brighton, Tottenham, Olivier Ncham, who we bought for $4.5 million from Manchester City, who looks an absolute steal at that price. Really has come into his own at the tail end of the season. Looked quite well-rounded in European games too. Kieran Tierney, there was actually scouts from Atletico Madrid watching the Scottish Cup final. He's been touted for a move abroad. You know what? If he was to go to another club, Atletico Madrid is a pretty goat move. I would get that shirt the day after.
Yeah, though you'd see less of his ability, right? Because I think it's easier to play defensively in that Simeone system because there's so much protection. In a way, I'd like to see him in a team where he's going to be able to show more of his ability to get forward.
Yes, I mean, I think he's scoring or assisting every 3 or 4 games he plays at current.
That's normal.
He's contributing to a goal every 3 or 4 games. But he is also capable of playing in a back 3 as well as a left wing back, which is no doubt what's made him such an attractive proposition to someone like Diego Simeone. And these guys alone, who I've mentioned, Edouard as well, have contributed to 26 out of the 73 league goals between them. So good, young, strong core there. On a slightly sadder note, Patrick Roberts didn't really work out for him this season. He returns to Manchester City after 2 years and 44 goal involvements in around 4,500 minutes. That's 1 every 104 minutes. And of course, suffered a couple of really bad injuries this season, missed a lot of football, and unfortunately couldn't quite work his way back into the side with the form of James Forrest. But the Hoops are pursuing a permanent deal for PSG loanee Edouard, who scored 11 and assisted 4 in just 12 starts. I think he's been Brendan Rodgers' favourite pet project this season. Mm-hmm. He looks a completely different player from when he first arrived. And a lot of Celtic fans think he's got a higher ceiling than Moussa Dembele.
Is that because they think Dembele is going to leave?
Potentially. I think we've done well to keep Dembele for 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think so as well. Though, that said, the clubs who came in for him, I don't think are attractive enough.
No.
Like, I don't think Brighton are the right level for him, right?
No. I think if we got in the region of 30, which is what West Ham first offered, where they were the first Premier League team to come in for him, and we got Edouard for 8, then that represents good business.
Yeah.
And Rodgers looks set to stay, and Tierney is locked up until 2023. Tom Rogic has signed a new 5-year deal as well. Was it a 5-year deal, or did I just dream that? So as soon as he announced his contract extension, the first reply to the tweet was someone just put me Tam, but spelled Tom T-A-M, which I found hilarious. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be picked apart, and already won the league title next year.
Perfect.
So Steven Gerrard sacked inside 6 months.
That'd be quality. I would love that. Our second and final losers of the week are Sporting CP. This comes from @Duarte Cardoso. Yeah, things have got weird for them in the last couple of weeks, right?
It's got real Michael Bay style and Patrick Van Straten, and they take the crown as our final losers with consummate ease to Sporting CP. Now, they missed out on the chance to secure a domestic double on Sunday, losing 2-1 to newly promoted side Desportivo de Aves in the Taça de Portugal. Despacito de Aves was all that was playing out in my head as I prepped for that sentence. Now, the Lisbon side have already won the Taça de Liga this season, but a brace from ex-academy graduate Alexander Guedes meant that Aves won their first trophy ever. So congratulations to them, but this caps a pretty miserable week for Sporting CP. Now, the game nearly didn't happen at all. On Tuesday, it's been well documented, around 50 masked men forced their way into Sporting's training ground, beating staff and players with sticks and belts. Disgusting scenes, but the controversy doesn't end there, because according to Bleacher Report, who quoted Ebola and Record, Portuguese papers, they think that President Bruno de Carvalho was behind it.
The president of the club orchestrated an attack on the club.
Yes, now there has been bad blood.
This is Bush did 9/11.
There has been bad blood between the players and de Carvalho prior. In April, Carvalho, who the Independent once called the Donald Trump of Portuguese football,
More of a Bush,
you know, threatened to suspend 19 players from the first team after a bit of a Facebook quarrel, and he was also conspicuously missing from the training ground when he said he'd be there when the incident unfurled. So an interesting development there, Pato. But more worryingly for the fans who are sort of on side with him, a couple of big players came out and said they were going to leave as a consequence, right?
Yeah, veteran Rui Patricio and, of course, William Carvalho apparently refused to talk to De Carvalho. And Bruno Fernandes, who's had a fantastic season for them, has also seemingly announced his departure on social media. The thing is, he's still very popular with the fans, though. When he took over, they'd finished 7th. This was in the 2012-2013 season.
Yeah.
That was the worst year in the club's history. And they've won 2 cups since then, come 2nd and 3rd very consistently. They haven't troubled the very top of the league, but still, they've been pretty decent.
Yeah.
Prior to the cup final, the vice president and 3 other board members handed in their letters of resignation. They said they would quit if De Carvalho didn't, but it still looks like he's going to win re-election as president.
Yeah, helped by the fact that the person challenging him, I think, has said he will employ Juan Ramos if he gets in, which probably not a good idea, not managed in a while, has he?
Not that appealing. But the game itself was reasonably close in the end. Freddie Montero set up a kind of nervy finish, scoring the 85th minute. They missed a bunch of sitters, so it did look like they weren't quite at the races. Bas Dost, who scored 33 goals in the league, he apparently is looking to move as well. Fluffed a bunch of chances on the night, but probably he'll get a suitor just because of
sheer numbers.
Oh, so depressing, mate. It's rubbish. Anyway, we'll be keeping an eye on what goes on over the next few weeks. I imagine that there might be some updates on Football Mundial. And Portuguese football fans, we would love for you to give us your take and keep us updated, because we're basically getting reports of reports.
Yeah.
You know, so we would love to hear it from people a bit closer to the action. Send us emails to
probably bleep that. Probably
Or text Zach Jelleb, number on screen right now.
I'll just put the generic email address there. Send us some videos. We want on-the-ground reporters. We finished this week's episode with a special mention from Jack Boyle when he brought an absolutely batshit game to our attention. AC Ajaccio played in Havre and mud went down.
Yeah, Le Havre are the Havre Knots after getting beaten by Ajaccio in the Ligue 2 playoff final. Ajaccio now advanced to a playoff against Toulouse, who I believe finished, I want to say 18th in Ligue 1. So that will see who stays up and who goes down to Ligue 2, basically. Ajaccio opened the scoring in this game. Jambert scored a sensational half volley after 16 minutes. That's the 32-year-old's 13th of the season. Mateta then scored a brace to put Le Havre out in front. The second of those was in extra time after it finished 1-1 in normal time. He scores in the 111th minute.
Drama.
Puts his hands up towards the Ajaccio supporters. Melee starts, loads of injury time, and in the end, Ajaccio equalised, taking it to pens in the 125th minute.
Incited an absolute riot,
What
didn't
a
he?
blow.
And as a result, 3 people were given their marching orders, with the game seeing 4 red cards in total. Ajaccio's captain, Coutadeur, was sent off for squaring up to the referee. I was watching the highlights in 30-second segments on Daily Motion, so I couldn't actually make out what happened. But yeah, there is bad blood between these two sides. In late April, the game saw 2 reds as Le Havre defeated the Corsicans 2-0 at home. Only 2 points separated these sides in the league, and I think they had both of the same goal difference. So came into the game very evenly matched. And yeah, it couldn't have been any tighter, could it? As Ajaccio, like you said, eventually won 5-3 on penalties. Couldn't have asked for, a better way to eventually lose to Toulouse. So that was Euro Roundup for another season. We've got some World Cup previews on the way. There's winners and losers over on on Football Daily. What's here on Euro Football Daily?
There's Stat Wars the Champions, Michael McCubbin versus Bobby Seagull of University Challenge fame. I tell you, it's a really good one. McCubbin is competitive.
Hilarious.
He's on edge.
It's so partridge. It's great. So long.
Bye.